the most racist movie and the apology follow-up. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. This is Movies with Mac, and yeah, I don't know what to expect. I will see how racist this movie truly is. Can it beat modern Twitter users? We will see. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Every little bit of support counts. Thank you so much. Here we go.
Think of the most racist film ever made. Chances are your first thought would be The Birth of a Nation, D.W. Griffith's silent epic where the villains are black people played by white people in blackface, and the heroes are white people in Ku Klux Klan attire. I doubt that
That's crazy work, by the way. That's crazy work, by the way. Oh no, that's crazy work, by the way. That's insane.
many would argue you can't get more racist than featuring a film where black characters try to rape white women and then are lynched in a manner meant to be more
Well, I don't know. Look at it. Look at it, Europe. Anyways, moving on.
heroic than horrific. The film inspired a new generation of the KKK and is celebrated as a classic of the Klan. But Griffith's follow-up film was an interesting one. While The Birth of a Nation was a brutally racist production, his next film, Intolerance, seemed like the polar opposite. Here was a tale that was more
Intolerance, I wonder. Interesting, okay? This is the Pocus type of movie. Not that I'm aware. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it is. Mine is more so criticism than anything else.
more relatable as one about drama and persecution throughout the ages. We go to Babylon and watch a prince taken down in the name of religion. Then Judea to view Christ on his last days. Then France, where Catherine de Medici watches over the slaughter of people. And then California, where a woman begs for the life of her husband when he's due to be hung for a wrongfully accused murder. Intolerance was a sprawling epic, far grander a film that had dwarfed the scale and techniques of The Birth of a Nation. It seemed as though Griffith was making an apology with this film. But did he? Historian Kevin Brownlow interviewed those who had worked with Griffith and was told over the phone that he didn't feel he had any
Interesting. Well, let's see. You don't like the K? Not necessarily either. Nope. Not a big fan of those either. Though apparently they saved the black man's life. And then once they leave, they give him give him their hood. Like, really interesting. He's into race play. I have a feeling that somebody is. I just can't prove it. It's certainly not me, though, because I'm not the one bringing it up.
anything to apologize for. Perhaps he was just too proud to admit Intolerance was an apology picture, maybe feeling it would diminish the film's greater appeal. It was, however, intended to shake off conceptions of him being racist and intolerant, most likely trying to explain that any racism in his work was unconscious. And Intolerance certainly has the feel of being a response to the controversy that brought about Birth being condemned by the NAACP and celebrated by the KKK. In other words, he didn't want to be seen as a racist, even though he had made a racist film. But maybe
Surprise. Surprise. Well, that's pretty interesting. Can we talk about the fact that his name is D.W. Griffith? The name Griffith is that hits a sensitive spot. That's all I'm gonna say. If you've ever read or watched Berserk, that does hit a sensitive spot.
we just want to view Intolerance as an apology to remember Griffith in a greater light. The biggest problem with The Birth of a Nation is that while deeply racist, it also features a lot of trailblazing film techniques of the silent era. From the use of close-ups and editing, to the epic size of shots utilizing an absurdly large number of extras for battle scenes. Of course, one could argue that Griffith and other filmmakers had been perfecting these techniques before this film, but
Interesting. So, like, it's like racist movie, but it was using cutting edge technology back in the day, or ways to film. Interesting.
Birth is unfortunately notable because it's a combination of all of them into a towering epic feature. It's troubling to see a film such as this as more of a technical innovator than a negative narrative. It's not the only example of a film being a problematic picture with landmark qualities. Buster Keaton's The Playhouse used a stunning technique of overlapping footage to create multiple characters played by Keaton, one of those characters being a blackface minstrel performer. One of the greatest musicals of all time, Holiday Inn, unfortunately features a blackface number. And even the first all-black musical film, Stormy Weather, also features a blackface scene. And so
all black, but they're not black. The Birth of a Nation is over 3 hours long. Damn. Why would you sit down and, why would you sit down to watch that movie for 3 hours, though? That's rather, well, different times, I guess.
it would be far easier to recognize Intolerance as the superior film for holding up better over time and showcasing more of Griffith's stellar filmmaking techniques and less racist overtones. So, why don't we? The Birth of a Nation is considered far more notable of Griffith's career than anything before or after. It was his biggest commercial success, whereas Intolerance made much, much less. So unprofitable was the film that Griffith would dice up the segments and try to sell them as smaller, separate films on their own. And so the sad truth is that Griffith's The Birth of a Nation was both a boom and blotch on his legacy, maintaining a critical eye for his provocative and propagandic picture as opposed to his more friendly follow-up. Intolerance had been in the works before Nation began production.
Well, if it was more successful, yeah, that makes sense. What about Lon Chaney playing Asian people in 2 crap movies? It was a product of it. See, you need to look at stuff from product of its type sometimes, right? And I think that applies here, right? It is a product of its era, these type of movies. And I think you need to look at them like that, no matter how racist they are, right? That's the thing.
Features an astronomical budget and was one of the most ambitious films of the decade. But it wasn't Intolerance that was showcased at the White House to Woodrow Wilson. It wasn't Intolerance that was the highest grossing film of the era before Gone with the Wind. It wasn't Intolerance that garnered the most controversy to be a snapshot of the era's rampant racist acceptance. And it wasn't Intolerance that was usually included in many film history class curriculums. It's The Birth of a Nation, the film that has become a stain on Griffith's career.
Well, the man is dead, so won't matter much, but okay. The Birth of a Nation got backlash even before it released. Yeah, surprise. Surprise, how did he do that though? Eyes? Probably. The thing is, like, probably nothing crazy, right? They probably just applied some makeup and shit, and that's that. Well, if it received criticism before even a release, then well, get fucked, I guess. Get fucked, but some of it was still a success, right? At least more than the other one. Now, success might be a bit relative. Maybe in comparison to the other one, but probably not in general.
No matter how apologetic Intolerance may appear, if it ever was. I'm not saying that The Birth of a Nation shouldn't be talked about in film history. It should, for both its technical prowess and disgusting showcase of early 1900s racism. And I'm not saying that Intolerance is effective as an excuse for the racism of Nation. It doesn't sweep away the despicable choice in portraying black people, and that the very source material of Thomas Dixon Jr.'s original novels were racist from the start. But what can be learned from these two films and its director is that, no matter how tolerant you may think you are, a deeply racist movie will make you look racist. And that's a stain that can't be rubbed away easily, even with a far better movie as a retort. Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to watch The Birth of a Nation or Intolerance for yourself, both movies are public domain, and I've left links to them in the description where you can watch them below. If you'd like to see a particular video essay in the future,
Ooh, he's based. He criticized the new Animal Farm. Yeah, apparently the new Animal Farm is kinda horrible. It replaced its anti-communist, how do I say this? it's anti-communist message now with anti-capitalist. Very interesting. They didn't keep tried to be faithful at all. Anyways, this man was the first big American director. That's why he is remembered. Well, that is rather interesting. The thing is, like, he made that movie, but if he made amends to it, I'm not the type of guy to be like, yeah, you can't be forgiven ever. A great racist man. I'm not like the type to say you can't be forgiven forever, right? I think I'm a big fan of second chances. So there's that. Anyways, a great racist man is crazy, by the way. Well, maybe he was. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know enough about the dude. Interesting though.